Okay, April 3rd, 2025. The saga of the security light blinking or not blinking, staying constant, and the immobilizer program and not letting the engine crank continues. But this time it is continuing, not with this one. We finally got tired of messing with it through the years and doing the relearn and all this stuff. So we just ordered a computer from Aries with the VATs discontinued. Now this one cranked up great the other day when we got it back here. The alternator wasn't charging, and so I was charging the battery, then turned to crank it, and the security light started blinking. It wouldn't crank back up. It crank, cut off, crank, cut off. So instead of messing with all of that junk again, like we did for years, I went on and ordered another computer with the VATs deleted. Now I think this is the culprit. The anti-theft deterrent module is about, so you can get them used for about $50–$60. I didn't want to do that because they'll go bad and do that all this other junk again. So I just went on and got a computer and got them to delete the VATs, the vehicle anti-theft deterrent module, off of it. Now that module sits back up there. It's very hard to get to, but you can get to it. So we had to wrestle this thing out of here. These power steering hoses sit right down on top of it, and all this junk is in the way. It is really a pain in the rump to get to that computer and replace it. I don't know if we're going to be able to wrestle it back in there without disconnecting the power steering hoses or not. But we're going to try to see if we can get it in, and then hopefully it'll crank up and run like it's supposed to. Then we can decide whether we're going to get the alternator rebuild kit or whether we're going to go ahead and get another alternator for it. But let's see if we can't get this computer back up in there right now. Okay, we got it back in. We had to wrestle it like crazy. We got it back in. We're going to hook the connectors back up to it, and they are labeled white, blue, red, and black, both on the computer and on the wiring brackets are. So you've got the white, the black, red, and the blue, and they will only match up. I think you mess up pins if you try to force it wrong. But they also have these. That one has a little push lock. All of them have this little push lock type thing on them that you have to push on that main connector. But then they also have a lock that goes in that connector. These little blue locks. We'll slide them back in. One of them didn't come off when we took the connector off, so hopefully it'll go back in easier. It's that bottom red one down there, and we taped them up so that we wouldn't mess up those connectors. But so you can see that pinch right there to get it released. That pinch. There we go. That pinch corresponds or slips over these clips right here and locks it in. Yeah, right here. And then that blue lock locks it on, keeps it from coming off. So let's see if we can get that red one on down there with that lock in it. And then we will try to get the blue one on, get the two bottom ones on, then get that black and then the white. Okay, they are all connected back and the locks are in and locked. You know there'd be one that just wouldn't cooperate, that white one, the very last one. Had to force it up on there. Hope it doesn't mess the pins up. But anyway, It's all connected. I guess this is just about the moment of truth. Connect this battery back up. Now the security light may stay on. A lot of times this security light comes on and stays on, and sometimes it comes on and blinks, but it still cranks up because the VATS, the anti-theft deterrent program, has been deleted off the computer, and that's what this one is. It's been deleted off the computer. We also changed that oil pressure sending unit. That is a one prong. I think that's why I put the one prong back on it. That we may have put the two prong back on it. Looks like we may have. It wasn't registering any oil pressure, but when I took it apart, the prongs were messed up. I put a one pin on it, but I'm not sure whether it's one pin or the two pins on it now. I'll look and find that other one and see which one it is. Okay, I put the two prong that was already in it back on it. That is the one prong. If the thing will focus. This one came off of mine. The mine has had one and a two prongs on it. This one, I think it sends the ground through there's a little contact set of points in there. It sends it back through the ground. This one is grounded through the unit, I think. Okay, well, let's hook that battery up. See if this thing's gonna crank. If it does and runs good, we got to decide what we're going to do about that alternator and go from there. Okay, we went ahead and put the air cleaner back on it. We got the battery hooked up. Like I said, the engine oil, transmission fluid, everything looked good. It cranked and ran really good. Went into gear. Like I said, it's got tilt, cruise control kit, rear seat heat and air. I'm sure we'll have to fix that. It seems like it's higher than mine, harder to get up in. Okay, we're going to shut the door. I'm pretty sure the security light's going to come back on, but with the VATS deleted, we're going to have to do something about that too. We're just going to let it run a minute. And hopefully, I don't know why I don't have a good feeling about this, but I don't. Okay, security is staying on. That's gone. It should crank and be okay. There we go. Oil pressure gauge still isn't working. It's pegged all the way over here. I'm going to swap that oil pressure gauge out and see if my old one will make it work okay. Volts, yeah, it's not charging. But it's running good. Goes in reverse, smooth, no U-joints popping and carrying on. Okay, let's cut it off. Change out that oil pressure sending unit. Hopefully the battery will have enough juice to crank it back up and check the oil pressure. Then I'm going to charge that battery back up. I want to pull it down to the shop and pump up the tires and drive it around through here. See if I can get it up fast enough to shift and see how it does. Now this is a special oil pressure sending unit socket. It's deep, so it'll go all the way up on that Sending unit is 3/8 drive. It seems like I paid about $13, $14 for this. I've got two of them, but I have no idea where the other one is. And when we screw this one in, we put some red sealant on the threads. We want to get that connector where this will face up, where it is easy to disconnect instead of facing down on the bottom. Okay, I think we probably need to tighten it another full round, but I'm not going to yet. We'll go ahead and plug it up. Now this, the socket, the connector here has 3 prongs. That way it's for 1 prong or the 2 prong. So let's connect it, crank it back up. Let's see if it's got oil pressure. If it's not showing any oil pressure now, we're going to take that oil pressure sending unit out and then crank it and see if we get any oil coming out of it. Because if it's getting oil pressure, there ought to be oil coming out of it. If it's not showing any. Okay. Well, let's see what we get this time. I'll cut it off until that stops. That's aggravating. Okay, let's see what we got. Okay, the oil pressure gauge is coming up though. Okay. Okay, what's going on? What's going on? There we go. Well, it's just hard to crank. He said it's been about a year, but everything I can look at and tell, this thing hadn't been tagged since 22. I suspect it hadn't been cranked since 23. It's been a good 2 years since it's been run. But it runs smooth as a kitten. Got oil pressure. Not charging. We put 4 gallons of fresh gas in. We may go get 4 or 5 more gallons. It could be part of the problem. Probably need to change the fuel filter too. We'll probably we may get that alternator kit, or either the alternator, fuel filter, and see what else we think we want to do to it. Okay, that'll probably gonna wrap this one up. It's gonna smell funny until it gets run back in. I guess we will go ahead and stick that vat back up there where it belongs, put the dash back together. We have 1 key, that's all we've got. 2 doors fit this key, but none of the rest of them do. I've got another ignition switch, but I've got to take this part of the dash off to get to the little hole to get the switch out, or get the key out. The switch, you have to take the steering wheel off. But we may change that key cylinder out and buy us 3 more door locks and key them all the same, and have the 2 keys for this whole thing. Okay, let's get this battery charged back up.